late. They should have been here earlier. Let me know when you're ready to go, and I'll begin.
All right.
All right, Dr. Fold.
Dr. Horrible.
At least he didn't call me Dr. Phil.
All right, Dr. Phil.
If you all have some problems with your relationship, I'd like to help you and state the obvious to you that you already know anyway, but Oprah Winfrey pays me the money, so I might as well do what she told me to do on her television show. I mean, that's obvious, isn't it? Thank you, Dr. Phil, for stating the obvious yet again. Anyway, welcome to Your Fuzzy Face Should Be in Pictures with SonicBlu Darkfold. And what is that, young man? You recorded the Penn Avenue speaker?
No, it's a text-to-speech there, and it sounds exactly the same.
Oh, wow,
my
it does.
gosh,
That is awesome.
I actually did a bumper for the rabbit hole with that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Everybody recognizes that. That is amazing how
That's
well
the
that
bumper right
voice
here.
just... That is the same voice. I swear, that is the same voice as on the crosswalk.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. That was good.
I can only do it. I can't make new ones since I don't have no data because it runs off the gets off their server.
And basically what I'm going to present to you is offset from what you can do in making your own videos. Everybody can make a video and stick it up on YouTube and get 1,000 hits a day. Whether you're successful or not is all up to you and how you present yourself and your videos and how professional you can be to the public. And YouTube is a good place to start. Thankfully we have that resource because back then we didn't. We had to rely on our good looks, go into a studio and get lucky. But now, because we can pretty much make movies anywhere, you can turn your own home into a studio. So how do we get from going to make a video to making a full-length motion picture? First thing you need is an idea. Of course, everybody knows that. It's the same thing in advertising. You need an idea. Something that probably has not been done yet, and if it has been done, try to do it in a way it doesn't copy them directly. If you happen to, say, steal an idea, somebody else will notice it, even though it's not your intent to steal it. But, you know, try to keep as original as possible. That should be in your idea. That is step number one. And step number two, now you need a crew. Well, you're not going to be the only one who's going to be working on this film. You definitely need camera people, lighting people, gaffers. You need everybody to come and help you out with that. And that's going to take a lot of work, especially if you plan on making a full motion picture. But it's not easy doing it by yourself, let me tell you. Now, Opoppets Productions has about 3 people in their staff to help, well, 4 now. Because we also have Rune helping us out too. And Art is our first assistant. So we actually now have 5 people under Opoppets Productions. And what we do is we make video shorts and we also make movies. We started with Paw 1 2 years ago. It was just a series of videos. And we decided, let's just rush this out the door. We only had 4 days to make it work. And we had a very tight schedule to keep. So we decided after we showed the viewers basically what we could do, the viewers' responses were all identical. We want more blood and guts and horror. So we gave it to them. So since we promised them Paw 2 in the next year, we decided, hey, let's pull up all the comedy and just give the people what they want and do Paw 2. And that's why Paw 2 was our first motion picture. Paw 1 was just reshot and finished right before the dawn. And I was sweating it up. I'm thinking, okay, we're not going to make a deadline. We're going to be stuck with this. I got to come back home, finish this up, blast this out, and I don't have the time for that. But luckily, fortune was smiling upon me because I was able to fix the computer and get back on my feet again and finally make the deadline. So the result was Paw 1. Paw 1 ended up to be about 2 hours long. I can tell you right now that if you're planning on making full-length motion pictures, usually try to keep it around 1.5 hours is a good length. It's an average length for motion pictures. But if you want to make a movie sort, I mean, it could be 45 minutes. It could be an hour if you want to. I mean, there's no time limit to make it a full-blown motion picture. I mean, as long as you keep the elements of, okay, it's something I've created, it's something that I put a crew together, it's got a storyline, it's going to lead into something better, you know, we can make a sequel about it. Try to make it over 45 minutes if you can. Because anybody can throw a 3-minute video together, that's not a full motion picture. So 45 minutes to an hour for a short one, 1.5 hours for an average one, 2, if you can do it, for a full-blown one. And that's what we did with Paw 1. Paw 2 ended up to be 2 hours and 26 minutes. So, and we'll be showing that tonight later on too. But anyway, so now you got your idea down. what can I do from here? Like, how can I get this out onto paper? Well, the best thing to do is write a script. Well, what do I use to write the script? Well, I got Notepad, WordPad. Yeah, you can use those if you want to, but I find the proper program that I like to use is called Final Draft. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there know, or especially if you've known script writing, know what Final Draft is. Final Draft is basically a program that enables you to write into a script format, and it's so easy to use. I mean, even a caveman could do it. A Draconis could do it. That's how easy it is.
No, I'm having issues with it, so.
You are? Really? It's so easy, Draconis still can't do it.
Oh.
Wow.
I didn't say I couldn't do it, I'm saying I had issues with it.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. I see. But those of you that can get Final Draft to work, it is a dynamite program. I stand by it. It enables you to put everything into a proper format for scripting. Dialogues are usually centered, and then you got your transitionals with, in italics, and it goes all the way across the page. I mean, you'll notice that it doesn't really look like your idea of a scripted document like you can do in WordPad. It'll show you a different format. It'll show you the character name in all capital letters, and then the dialogue underneath, and it'll put quotations around it. That'll show that that's a dialogue. There are other formatting for your script. I could go over each and every single one of them, but this isn't really a class on how to make a script. I'm here to basically help you get from step 1 to step 0, or whatever, higher number you want to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 0 would be 10. But I'm also here not to show you how to count either, because that's Sesame Street. Now, let's say, okay, I have the script written. Now you need some staff of actors, people to help you out with the movie, people to help you film the movie, people who know what they're doing behind a camera. You always want to try to ask around, what is your forte? What are you best at? Are you best at acting, lighting, camera work? And if they don't know, you could always train them, but they don't have to be like 100% Hollywood quality. The beauty part about making underground films, sometimes it's supposed to look like a B-rated movie. In fact, a lot of people expect it, especially if it's made by a small-timer or a first-timer. So, of course, your productions aren't going to look just like, Robert Redford just starred in it and it was made by George Lucas. Your pictures will look primitive, but the B-movie fans will love it because they are out there by leaps and bounds. I should know the Trauma team still makes B-rated movies, and that's what Lloyd Kaufman prefers to make, B-rated movies. I mean, he could go totally, he's got the equipment, he's got the staff, he's got the cast, he's got the connections to make full-blown motion pictures. He still makes B-movies because it's an area that he likes the most. And that's why, you hear another Trauma movie coming out like Toxic Avenger or, Poultrygeist or one of those films. It's not really all that well known, but the Trauma team loves it, and the Trauma fans will know about it. So that's all he cares about. Yeah, so your pictures aren't always going to look 100% like Hollywood blockbusters, and excuse me, take a deep breath. There's a lot to go over, but yeah, your pictures aren't going to look 100% quality like Hollywood, but don't expect it to be too, because I know the artist is its worst critic, and sometimes you got to allow yourself enough credit to say, you know what, this could be better, but there's always room for improvement, and that's even in big-time Hollywood names. There's always room for improvement. So don't ever let it get you down. Don't let it discourage you. If you can't get that scene, you can always make another take. Let's see. Some of the other people that work in behind the scenes, of course, you got your cameramen. Key grips, they work on lights. Best boy, they help the key grips, basically key grips assistants. And you can have as many best boys underneath you as possible, but there's one chief best boy to a key grip, and then several other best boys working underneath the main best boy. That's usually the way the ball bounces. So if you got a lot of lighting issues, like say you got like all this lighting, and you got other lighting that you got on stands, and ones that you go up into the gaffers and start putting them up, now we're talking big time studio. But chances are you're not going to have all that. And chances are you probably have just a lamp post or a flashlight or something. That could be a key grip. As long as they work on lights, hey, you know what? More power to you. One thing I've noticed in working on movies, always let the person's, like say the key grip, always let them do their job. Don't try to do the job that you're not intended to do. One of the things that, a perfect example of this, I was doing an audition, and they had you walk on a catwalk. That stage was so small, everybody was crammed in there to get their turn.
How small was it?
It was so small, was like this.
So small.
It was so small.
So small.
It was so small.
So small.
But you Americans, wow, with your giant catwalk. Yes, we all know the South Park. I love that episode, by the way. I think that's my favorite episode, Team Pokemon. But anyway, getting back to Target. No, excuse me. That was very rude. Anyway, so this small stage, everybody was crammed on top of it, and they had the floor lights. Like they had a couple of them, one back here in the corner, and another one back there, and then like, it was like 3 or 4 scattered all over the stage. It was very unprofessional. But, you know, I thought, you know, take a chance, beggars can't be choosers, whatever. And I accidentally knocked over one of the floor lights, and it smashed all over the floor. Now, working in movies and doing my own productions, I always know how to handle that type of situation, but the whole principle is even if you know what you're doing, you got a best boy for a reason, you got a key grip for a reason, use them. They should know firsthand what happens when you knock over a light, it breaks all over the place. What do you do if it's still plugged in? They should know this kind of thing. And that's what they told me. It's like, only let the best or the key grip handle that. And I'm thinking, you guys have a key grip? I thought this was a studio for auditions. I didn't know you did movies here. So, but he did have a point there. And I was not supposed to touch it because I was there to audition, not to work on lights. Actors, yeah, you really want to find the best actors you possibly can. Chances are you're not going to find, you know, somebody that just came out of a soap opera. You know, that's not always going to happen. You know, if, as a director, let's say you're putting together a movie, you got some actors there, they're not doing their job perfectly well. You can act as, of course, an acting coach, get them in the mood, show them exactly what you intend on, because you are the director. Whatever pretty much instructions you give will be a vast improvement to help them along and perhaps making them even better actors. As directors, don't ever be afraid to say, no, you're doing it wrong, we'll do another take, do it like this. And I've had to do it with Wolfdog several times. And so we kept going through it until we got that awesome take. So as a director, definitely got to have vision, not only for your film, but also for your cast and crew. That's always a good issue too. Let's see, covered the main people that are behind the scenes. Let's say, okay, I got the people, I got the staff, I got the crew, I got the cameras, I got the equipment. What do I do now? Just, what is the purpose of this clapperboard here? Excellent question. A lot of people ask me, what is this for? And a lot of people who make movies know what this is for, but a lot of people who don't really know or don't really care to use one of these, this has many different purposes. Its main purpose, noise. This is used to sync up audio to your video, and using this to help you. It makes a nice loud noise. Any sound recorder will pick that up, and you'll be able to sync it up better with your audio and your video if you have a separate video, or separate audio recorded rather. And another purpose, you notice that on the front here are all these spaces where you can write stuff on them. Yeah, and a lot of people are, well, it's self-explanatory. Of course, the production is the name of your movie, or whatever production you're working on. Tape, usually if you're working on several audio tapes, or even videotape actually, this is section for audio, but I meant to say video. Videotape, whatever, if you're still working on tape, a lot of people use digital, so this probably isn't used anymore. But in case you do use 8mm tape, that's what you would use in that square, like which number tape you're on with whichever take, so that way you can take the footage, put it into the editor, take it right to the cutting room floor and start working on it. This also makes things a lot easier for your editor when they have to put it all together. Of course, you got scene number, very simple. It could be a number, it could be a word, like this is Dolly gets a bath, take 1. You know, it could be that too. And of course take, you know, people will go through several takes, but for every take that you go through, it's always best to remark the take, so that way the editor knows which take to go with and which take not to go with. Of course, director, self-explanatory, you, if you're directing it, your name goes there. Camera. Usually if it's camera 1, camera 2, if however many cameras you have, if you have 2 cameras, we have 2 cameras, and so we just rely on just the 1 camera. We just put camera 1. Or you can put anything that needs to, if you need to mark your camera separately, but we don't. Of course, date, audio. Especially when, you know, you got all these different codes down here. You got noise reduction on, off, yeah, there. Yeah, one thing about working in the art though is you got to work with the bugs too. You got a lot of bugs to work out, but you know it's pretty self-explanatory. That's the what we're using here is a dry erase board, and you can find the material to make this really easily. I crafted this. out of a dry, like a dry erase, like clear cell, and you can use a dry erase marker over the top of it as long as your background is white, and it'll come right up there. I have it held by electrical tape, and for the backing, it's just a regular piece of plywood there, and 2 pieces of poplar. They're held on the side by these hinges, and you can make your own clapperboards. And I know Draconis has a beautiful shiny one, which I would love to have sometime, but he's not going to give it up for anybody, not even me.
Find your own garage sale.
Find your own garage sale, I love that, yeah. But now, what is the purpose of it being black and white? Very good question. A lot of different scenes will have different backgrounds. The reason why it's black and white is because, let's say you're filming late at night, it's dark, you want something bright to stand out amongst the darkness. Or let's say if your entire background is white, you got that black to stand out in front. But now you see, you notice like in some behind the scenes, like if we're watching a DVD, you'll see that there are different colors like right along the middle here. I don't really know what that's for myself, but I mean, no matter what background you see, something will stand out on it. I've never seen a background that looks exactly like that. But even if it would still stand out in some way because you forget. This is white, and it's got letters on it, it's got numbers. You can see it. But it's mainly so the editor can sync up the audio once again with the video, and seeing something visual that goes down and goes click. That's the whole purpose of a clapperboard. So I mean, you can use this in your productions. It'll make things a lot easier. I use this, I stand by it, especially when I use a separate recorder. My recording device is just a little mini disc recorder. Maybe you have like a digital recorder that you can use. As long as you got good equipment, good sound, you're good to go. But if you don't, even if you don't have anything like, say, to sync up your sound, because let's say your camera picks up decent sound as it is, still, try to get one of these. It'll help you mark your scenes, and it'll help you keep organized with which takes that you got and which takes you don't want. Now let's say I made my movie. I'm ready to show the public, but I really don't know how to do it by myself. What are the best methods of pushing my movie out there? And if that's a question in your mind, try sending it to different. Well, there are different organizations, different guilds. Well, I'm not going to suggest SAG because that's the Screen Actors Guild, and you have to be big time to go in there. Their dues are really outrageous, and plus, when you join SAG, they have you eliminate a lot of the other projects that you might pick up. You can't do your own projects, you can't do low-rate movies, you have to stand by their standards, and it is a very elite club. Organization, I should say, because it's not really a club, it's an organization. But there are some underground festivals that you can take it to if you think it's good enough. Do screenings at cons, like I'm doing with Paw 2 in Paw. Take it around, see, show it to friends, their friends will show their friends. Word of mouth is a great way of advertising. And that goes in with pretty much anything. If you got an album, you got a movie, it doesn't matter. Word of mouth will get your work out there, but there are other ways to get it out even further. If you feel confident enough, by all means, the Underground Film Festival, give it a shot. Now, let's say I don't really know much about directing, but I want to be in a movie. I want to experience what it's like to be around other actors, other productions. How do I get my start that way? Usually a good place to, do a Google search for anybody who might be looking for something. I actually, the first movie production I worked on was Wormwood, and that was 2005, and that was referred to me by a friend, but that was based on an ad somebody else put in MySpace, and he responded to it. The best way to, say, answer an ad or a casting call, we're looking for actors, we're looking for people, and basically what is best if you go into somebody else who's making a movie, you want to be a part of it, but you want to present yourself. Well, first of all, like any job interview, you're selling yourself to them. So basically, dress accordingly, don't smell like, you just came from an elephant's behind, but you want to look presentable, you want to look professional, and you want to come prepared with an 8x10 photograph. It doesn't really have to be professional quality, just, if you take it yourself, you print it yourself, 8x10, and also a resume that goes on the back. I don't have any right now because I left all mine at home, but if you have a resume you want to attach to the back of your picture, they prefer to have your resume 8x10, flipped over to the back so they can see your picture on one side, flip it over, they see your resume. And attach it by either paperclip or staple. And your resume should only consist of say, background projects, if you've assisted in anything, your traits, what you can do on cue, what you, I mean, your age, your height, your weight, everything goes on that resume. Stick to movie production stuff. Don't worry about, I've worked at McDonald's for 5 years and I was a general manager of this place or a cashier at this place. They don't want to know anything about that. What they're looking for is age, height, weight, and experience and what you can do. It always starts with your the specifications of your body. Then the next section is if you have any experience. Let's say you've done a commercial, put that on there. If you've done a small-time movie, if you made your own movie, put that on there. You know, I mean, the littlest thing, put it on there. I was an extra in a film, put that there. You know, they love to see stuff like that. Then after that, put down what you're capable of doing, what you, like, I can whistle, I can juggle, I can belch on cue, I can fart on cue. Put it down. If it's a talent, put it down, by all means. You got all that space to work with, but keep your resumes to 1 page, because they don't want to see page after page of, oh, I can do this, and I can do this, I can draw, and I can do this, and they don't want to see all that. They want to see just 1 page, quick look up and down, okay, now audition. And that's basically how it works. Let's see, so we covered quite a lot, because I'm just like talking really fast about this kind of thing. Do we have any questions, by the way? I want to see what time it is real quick. Oh, and what time is this thing over, by the way? I think it's over by... An hour? Yeah, and I started what?
Late.
Late?
Start on Central Furry Time.
There you go. We'll call this furry time. Is there any questions, by the way? Anything that that I might have missed that you might have had curiosity about?
I guess you shoot some with suitors.
Fursuiters? Oh yeah, sure. I mean, there's a film that's being made. It's called Bitter Lake, which is a film all done with fursuits. And I know that there's a lot of talk about Bitter Lake. I want to see this movie. I don't
It's
know about
already
y'all,
out.
It's already out.
but is
I
it?
got a
How can
copy.
we- Oh, you do? How do you get a copy of that?
It was at Texas Furry Fiesta.
Oh, I wasn't at Texas Furry Fiesta though.
Yeah, I was asking
Get it
around.
out, order it online.
You can order it online. Okay, excellent. I'll have to do that. But yeah, you can shoot movies with fursuiters, furries. It doesn't matter what your subject is. I mean, as long as you have.
That was my question.
Oh, sorry.
Have you shot any with fursuiters?
Not as of yet. Most of my productions have been with puppets, and that's usually what I do with the old puppet show. Even if you have just a series of puppets, we got these puppets through Folk Manus. You'll find that as a common ground for the puppets. Yeah, let's step over this way. I'll show you some of them. Now, those of you that are familiar with the old Puppet Show, Fun Day Puppet Show, and any other puppet show that spring out of the woodwork, they all kind of look like that there. And these are all Folk Manus puppets. You can find them through many different places, folkmanus.com being the main place, but we go to Puppet Place.
You're using bling.
It's bling! And I got this guy because he was discontinued. I got him at Anthrocon, and it's really kind of interesting how I got him, because I got him last year, and he's just so cute and adorable, and I knew I can do something with him, so a 3-headed dragon, why not? You know? But to give you an example, some of those puppets there, a lot of them can be found at Folk Manus. I mean, if you know of anybody who can make them by hand, feel free to inquire about their services. Maybe they'll cut you a break if you want a few cast members. I mean, yeah, you don't even have to do live acting. That's the beauty part about it. With puppets, all you got to do is just duck down as long as you're not seen, and just move your puppets about, and have a decent flair for voice acting. That's another thing too. Presentation, presenting your voice, acting. It's projection. It's not. My name is Bill and I work in the office. No, it's not like zombie, okay? Now, a zombie is the easiest thing to play, but nobody wants to listen to a zombie through your entire movie. So, definitely have feeling when you act.
Do you pre-record your sound and then play it for your puppets, or?
Actually, no. We do it right then and there. We have 2 sources to record the sound, one via my recorder and one via the camera, and we do both simultaneously. And then if, say, something that doesn't come right out in the audio, like say if I run out of batteries and I have to go and scurry and find another one, I just take the whole thing over again. But yeah, another thing too, and you'll notice, those of you that picked up the Paw movie will notice that some areas of the movie will cut out, because you're used to hearing the one source of sound, and it's pretty fluent throughout most of the movie. Then you'll hear another source of sound where it'll just cut out, and we rely on the camera's microphone. Well, the reason for that being is because it was scene 13, the toast and consumer trap, and consumer had just broken out of his trap and the battery went dead. Now that was a very complex scene and one that we can't really reshoot because he's already cut himself free from the rope. We can't retie it, we can't retake the whole scene over again. So we just went ahead and just said, you know what, I'm just gonna work with this. It's not gonna be professional, but then again, this is a low budget, underground movie. It doesn't have to be. Just make that a note of it when you present your DVD to the public. Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything that you feel that you can shoot, those are your subjects, be it a fursuiter, puppeteer, live actor, it really doesn't matter. I mean, just go with it and see where it takes you. And they could make you a star, they could make you a big time director, you could later be on, go better than George Lucas. I mean, lots of luck to you. There are several video editors. Now, I know that's gonna come up too. What kind of editing software is best? Or shall we say, what kind of video editing software does SonicBlu use? Magic's Movie Maker, because I own a PC. A lot of people will say, well, I like Macintosh, you can do so much more on a Mac. You can, but I've never used one, so I don't know. But PC users, Magic's Movie Maker, and Corel has a good one too. And I'm going to push Corel's product a little bit too, because I've been a user of Corel for quite a long time. I'm more used to their user interface. I tried to work with anything Adobe made, and I just get lost. So the whole key to it is work with what you're comfortable with, work with what gives you the most options, and work with what can make your film better than just using Windows Movie Maker. Windows Movie Maker might be okay for a few things, like a certain effect that with your titles that Magix doesn't give you or Corel doesn't give you. So I still keep it around, but I only use it for my titling. The Windows Movie Maker Live, which came with Windows 7, or actually compatible with 7, I should say. It never can come with it, you have to download it separately, but I use that for other titling techniques that even Windows Movie Maker can't do, and neither can Corel or neither can Magix. So I have about 4 different editors on my computer, and I put all of them to work. Now I know it's going to be a lot easier to say, just go Adobe and learn the damn thing. I'm comfortable with using 4 programs. I don't know why. It just works, you know. But the whole idea about it is it's your movie, it's your editing job. If you know how to use the editing software, then great, more power to you. Good luck, and you know, let's see if we can get her done. I know I used a Larry the Cable Guy reference there, but you know. But if you got a you know, pretty good idea of what you want to do in your editor, you know, the sky's the limit. But you're only limited to what the software can do for you. If you know of anything better, by all means, learn it. I choose not to because it's Adobe and I get confused. So, but yeah, he mentioned the video. And was there any other questions as to what other programs to be used?
You use anything for
How much do those programs run? Are there free ones out there?
There are free ones, yes. Windows Movie Maker is free. Windows Movie Maker Live is free. But you probably want something a little more advanced, and you're probably not going to find many free editors because the more advanced they are, the more you can do with them, the more it's going to cost. Adobe would probably be the most expensive that I've seen. There could be more expensive, like Sony's got one. Sony Vegas Pro is a really good one. I've heard a lot of great things about Sony. But my recommendation, if you can learn Sony, because it's got a little bit more complicated user interface than Magix does, then by all means, Sony, go with that one. If you can afford it, though. I mean, check out.
They have another product. They have one that's
They do?
yeah, Movie Studio Platinum HD, so you can do HD editing, and it's $61 off of Amazon.
There you go. Yeah, so just cruise around Amazon, do a Google search. The sky's the limit on what you can do for your editor, but I mean, listen to what other people say about it too. Don't just go with the first one you find either, because you want to make sure that you want to find something that works for you. Some websites, when you download an editor, will have a demo version that you can try and download and try it out and see how well you can work with it. And if it's something you can work with, then, you know, here's my money. I'd like to own this software. Yeah, something that, you know, generally try. That's what Windows comes with Windows Movie Maker if you have basic stuff. But, I mean, let's face it, Movie Maker can only do so much. With Magix, the thing I like about Magix and pretty much any other software around that advanced user interface is that it gives you several tracks that which you can line your video, your audio, pictures, images, anything that you can mix into your video to make it one continuous production is probably the one to go with. And Windows Movie Maker only gives you 1 track. Maybe 2 if you count audio. There is another one I tend to use as well called Camtasia. There's a lot of limitations to what Camtasia can do, but it's got that recorder, and it's got, what do I use Camtasia? Oh, the picture-in-picture function.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
That's right. You got a question about picture-in-picture?
Yeah, where you'd have something like where you've got a scene, but you're gonna have something like a TV screen that's playing something in there.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Paw and Paw 2 are loaded with scenes like that. Basically what I do in that technique is I take a still picture of what I'm going to use, and if I happen to have my director of photography with me, he takes the picture of the same scene or the same shot that I'm looking for, and he gets a photograph taken. Beauty part of having a director of photography is he's there to take lots and lots of pictures. I cannot tell you how many times I've done pictures where I needed a photographer and I had to rely on screen grabs to get my pictures. But I'm telling you, get a photographer or do it yourself, because the screen grabs will come out fuzzy. There's no way to fix them up and clean them and make them look good. Get the picture. It's so much better, so much clearer, so much crisp, and you can do anything you want to with it. Just have them say, just tell them where to shoot, and they'll do it. They work under you, they should do it, right? Excuse me. Let's say, we were talking about the Paw movies, yeah. There was a scene, of course, you'll see this quite often. You'll see the TV screen, and like an image will pop up on it. That's picture-in-picture. Camtasia will give you free reign to wherever you want to put that picture inside the picture. You can resize it however you want to, and then stick it right where you need to. With Magix, you have to specify right-hand corner, left, right, center, up, down. You don't have free reign to move your picture-in-picture like Camtasia does, and that's one of the reasons why I keep Camtasia around. Let's see. Yeah, so like I said, if you have several editors that work for you, who's to say you're wrong? I mean, I use 4 or 5 editors myself, and they say, well, you can do so much better if you use this. Maybe it works for them, but it doesn't work for me. I mean, I tried it, and I couldn't get the hang of Adobe. I tried a demo version of it, and I'm like, God, I'm lost. What the hell? I mean, I wish somebody would throw me a anchor here. I'm drowning, So I just work with what I know, and that actually, I mean, if you work with what you're comfortable with, your videos will turn out a lot better because you know what you're doing. With programs, you might not know what you're doing. Who knows what they're going to look like? They might look like chop suey. You don't want your pictures looking like Chinese food.
Let's show the picture on Chinese food.
Unless you do the picture on Chinese food, and then hopefully you get Jackie Chan to do your films. Which I'm still waiting for Tobin Bell to do mine, but I don't think he's going to be answering my call anytime soon. Any other questions?
What about green screens?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, we do tons of green screening. Now, those of you that are not experienced in green screening, let me tell you one thing. It doesn't matter if you use green or blue. You gotta have lots of lighting and try to eliminate as many of the shadows as possible, and also try to have a smooth background. The smoother the better. Because what'll happen is if you have a wrinkly, like say green cloth, you can use pretty much anything for your green screen. Green cloth will do it. Anything green, like you can use strips of paper with green. You can actually paint a wall green and use that as your green screen. Anything green, or if you're working with blue screen, use blue. As long as you got enough lighting, and another reason for a key grip is to set up the lighting when you do green screening. But the less shadows that you have and the less wrinkles that you have behind you, the crisper your background is going to be. There's a mistake that we made in Paw 1. And first of all, we have a drop cloth behind our stage, and that's where we do most of our green screening work. The cloth itself can get wrinkly when you fold it up several times. You store it away, you pull it out, it's all wrinkled to heck, and you don't have an iron. We ran into that, so we had to work with what we had. And we put it up in the back of our puppet stage, like let's say this is the puppet stage here, and then this is the screen. We replaced the black screen with the green screen and did our green screening that way. And we went through hell to get that thing to be smooth as possible. And it's got to be smooth, otherwise when you have wrinkles, it produces shadows. When you produce shadows, it's not going to be 100% when you throw your image behind it. The best green screen I've seen is actually one that stands on the floor and goes up like this. It's basically a green screen you can throw on the floor and it just, boom, there's your green screen. Those are perfect. The best way to describe them is like a green material with a frame that helps hold it into place and stretches it out and keeps it everything smooth. and there's no way to wrinkle it. And those things are very expensive. I would love to own one of those one day, but they're very expensive, so I'll work with what I have and try to make it work that way. Another quick, easy, now this is for your basic film production. You're probably not going to afford a lot of equipment, and if you can, put it to good use and see what type of movies you can make, but if you don't, and chances are you don't, a regular green cloth that you can pick up at Joann's Fabrics will do the trick, and maybe even like a nice big piece of, say, like plywood or anything like that. You can just stretch it out, staple it to the back, make sure it's really stretched out there, and then there's your permanent green screen. You don't have to worry about folding it up and dragging it out later. It just takes up space. Just lean it against the wall, you know. Or if you have a dedicated studio, just leave it up. I mean, what harm is it going to do? I mean, as long as, you know, you don't get, you know, a lot of rowdy people playing near it, you know, they'll tear the thing up. But, you know, it's your studio. You allow whoever you want in your studio. Who am I to judge? But a lot of people ask, why green screen? And why blue screen? Why green and blue? Green and blue are mainly used because they're the most reflective colors that are less likely to be worn by your actors. Well, blue more commonly than green, but green, I've always had the best of luck. I've never really worked with blue screen myself, but usually because it's the best color to use against lighting. When it hits it, it reflects it, and it helps, really, I mean, if you know where to place the lighting, it'll work wonders if you know how to place it with eliminating your shadows and all that. But if there's shadows in it, your green screen and your chroma keys are not going to come out 100%. So make sure there are no shadows, especially cast by your subjects when they stand before it. Another trick too is if you have a green screen and you don't want your actor to be seen in the green screen, let's say for a puppeteer, this is what we really need. You can wear a full green suit. I've seen them in Hollywood productions, and I've seen them where they would come in with green all over, and then they just hold something like they're floating something in midair. And when they do chroma key to it, you'll notice that this object will be manipulated, and it's, you know, the best thing to use other than, well, it's better than wires, you know, because you can see, people will look at you and go, oh, I see the wires, that's so fake. But if you use green screen and wear a green suit and you manipulate the item, you can have it float and people won't even notice the difference. That's the beauty part about green screen. You can do so much with it, and the sky is the limit. If you know how to do green screen really good, there's no limit to what you can do. You just need an idea and just, you know, the imagination to make it work. Let's see. I know there was something else on green screen I wanted to touch on too, but I can't remember what it is. But constructing a green screen, even if you have like a bare wall and you don't mind painting your wall green, that would probably be assuming that you don't have a brick wall. You don't want pattern. That's another thing too. If you got a solid wall, like say a drywall or something like that, there's no pattern on it, no spackle, no brick design, then by all means use that as your green screen if you don't mind making one of your walls green and just setting up lights in your studio, and that could be your green screen studio. Yeah, as long as your background does not have any patterns, what you want to do is have a nice smooth color, just like this screen here. Well, almost. There's a few wrinkles here. But, I mean, green screen, the possibilities are endless. Excuse me. But, yeah, so any other questions on green screening or any techniques therein?
What software do you use for that?
Magix does chroma key.
Okay.
When you hear the word chroma key, by the way, it's working with green screen, eliminating the background and then placing your own with picture-in-picture. Well, no, actually, it works on the same principle as picture-in-picture, but chroma key basically eliminates your green background in place of what you direct your picture to have. Let's say for the bar scene in Paw, we did it in front of a green screen. We had a separate picture of a bar, nothing in front of it, just a bunch of bottles. And we put that in the designated area where we tell the green screen when you hit chroma key, we go into the chroma key software, or the chroma key option in the software, and we say turn off all this green. You've got your controls to match to work with the fade and what's the other one called again? You got fade and you got, what is the other one? Can't remember. I always forget the other one. Fade and contrast or something?
I think it might have been.
Something about contrast. Well, basically, it helps you adjust where the strength of your green screening. Every software that does chroma key usually has that, but if it doesn't, get yourself some better software, because you're going to need to adjust your green screening for chroma key. But by all means too, if you definitely want to watch what you wear too. If you're doing a lot of green screening, don't wear green. Unless you need to, and then by all means get a green suit. Yeah, you got your adjustments, now you got your picture. You tell chroma key to eliminate all green. Bam, you got your picture. And it's just as simple as that. I mean, as long as everything back here is smooth, no shadows, and plenty of lighting. A lot of people say, now what's your technique about lighting against green screen? There are several methods to make. The best part about movie production is seeing what works for you. It takes a lot of trial and error, but best thing to do is actually learn it. What I've learned is that, let's say if you have something like a light that produces a spot, take a piece of white sheet of paper and put it over it. That gives you a softer glow, and it doesn't look like it's a spotlight against your green screen. But try not to have that paper on there for too long, because if you have like a high-powered wattage light bulb, you don't want that on there for too long. It'll start heating up and burning, and next thing you know, you're burning your studio down because you forgot to take the paper off while you're doing green screening. So, I mean, I'm not saying it will happen, but you want to be safe. Safety first, safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, another method I was told is if you do the soft white light, always also have two lights, best 500 watt lights, one pointing at the other and the other pointing at the subject, and that usually eliminates a lot of the shadow from just the one light. They put it up in a way, how did they, remember when we saw that video, how did they say that?
Well, no. Well, well, like you said, there's different methods.
There is different, there's tons of methods.
There's also other ways, like you can get like those special lights that photographers use.
Umbrellas or something? Or?
Well,
Yeah,
they're
umbrellas,
kind of like the umbrellas, but actually it's not like those types, but you can use those. Those do come in handy.
right,
But then there's
something
also the other types that actually have the felt over it. And usually you can use like, fluorescent, those special fluorescent lights in there, get like the big ones.
yeah, the 500
The big
watts.
ones. And then you just screw it in there and you're ready to go. Because actually, the person who runs the puppeting track at Anthrocon, who is a good friend of
Insanity.
ours, he actually uses those type of lights, and they work perfect.
Oh yes,
for green
if you
screen.
ever want to check out his work, by the way, he's referring to the man who created Fluff and Such puppetry. They do constant video submissions to Anthrocon. If you've seen a few of what he can do, that's all green screen, and he does a phenomenal job. It is really wonderful. He knows his stuff.
He knows his green screening very well, because
Yeah.
a lot of his videos was actually nothing but green screen.
Yeah, and it also depends on how much lighting you have coming in from natural light. Let's say you're doing this in the middle of the night, it would be good if you have a lot of lighting, but if it's in the middle of the day, you can't really differentiate what the weather's going to be like, so try not to rely on natural light if you can avoid it, because sometimes you'll have that inconsistency in your weather, like you're losing daylight, you got some outside scenes to shoot and stuff. I had this every time I do an exterior shot. We're ready to go. The scene we shot before it has to match the scene we shoot after it, which means the weather has to be the same. We can't shoot part of the scene in the daytime, part of the scene in the nighttime. It just doesn't work. So what do we do when, say, it gets cloudy? You better hurry up. You can hurry up and film before you lose too much daylight. And if you lose too much daylight, you got to pack it up and start again tomorrow. A lot of, if you're really serious about your work, you probably want to do this yourself, just to be a perfectionist. But if you're not much of a perfectionist, you probably won't have to worry about it. It's self-explanatory. Time does go by, but it goes by faster in real life than it does in movie time, because like you could film 30 minutes worth of movie or video and only have 2 minutes worth of movie, and you'll see it go from light to dark in the blink of an eye. So definitely keep consistent with weather conditions. A lot of people aren't really all that particular on weather conditions. They don't really pay much attention. They just say, oh, let's go out and just film. But it's not going to be consistent with the scene we just shot before it, which is still another outside scene. And how much sense would it make, say, if you're on a hike or something, you want to film scene 12, okay, and they're starting on their hike. All of a sudden, nighttime, they're still on the same dialogue, and then daytime, and you can definitely tell that's not gonna give you a very good continuity. And I'm a big stickler on continuity errors. It all has to be done the same way. Perfect example of this was Pop at My Ride. We ended up going with it because we needed to do something to hurry up and film because we were losing daylight as we were filming. And basically how that went over was I explained that this was a 2-day process. And so I was able to cover up the fact that one scene is daytime, in the middle of the day you see the sun is shining bright, and then all of a sudden nighttime. Basically, if you can pull it off and add it into your storyline, that say there's a time lapse, like later that night, and you're still at it. We were able to pull it off because it wasn't a constant dialogue that the two characters were sharing. It was a constant, like cleaning out the car was the scene we were working on. And that car was so messy, it probably would have taken 2 days to clean it all out, so it's understandable there. What's that?
That guy right there. The covenant's here. You seen his car?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
So you're saying that it would take more than 2 days to clean out his car?
2 months.
2 months? That's a little bitty car.
2 years.
2 years. Good Lord. Who wants to make a film about that?
Took me a couple hours to get from the trunk to the front seat.
Coming to theaters near you. How we cleaned out Draconis' car. It wasn't easy, and we lost a few lives back there. But we managed to do it in 2 months' time. Be there. Yes, there you go. Making a trailer for your movie. This is one thing that I had to teach myself how to do just by observing how other people do it and what to watch out for. You don't want to show too much of your movie, you don't want to give too much away, but you want to give away enough to where it draws your audience in and then spits them back out and say, okay, now you've seen the trailer, go see my movie. That's basically what you're telling your audience. You've seen the trailer, go see my movie. And you want to stick with the scenes that won't give too much of the storyline away, but it will give them a general idea of what your movie's about. So don't be afraid to use a few spoilers here and there, but automatically cut it off if you think you're going too far. Like in a death scene, let's say it's like in the middle of a murder scene, this is your best scene ever. You got the killer with the knife, and he's going after the girl. The girl is in the corner screaming, ah, 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 and all of a sudden the killer strikes, and the screen goes black. That would be a good cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah.
That would be an ideal way to say, this is what my movie's about, and I won't show you anymore until you see it for yourself. That is how to make a trailer. Now let me tell you, if you can make it that way, more power to you.
That's good for a trailer. It sucks for the actual movie, though. Like, if you just cut the whole movie off on that scene.
Yeah,
like,
and then you just say, coming soon, part 2, and then
to be
it'll...
continued. I hate those.
Well, luckily, you're not doing miniseries. You're doing a movie. Miniseries will end that way. I know Stephen King's does.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I see a Stephen King miniseries, how many times does he end it with "to be continued" right at the best part? You just want to strangle him. But your trailer will just be enough to say, this is what my movie's about, this is how much action is in there, and if you make it, like if you throw a whole bunch of scenes at them, bam, 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 one after another, after another, after another, after another, and then all of a sudden, it quiets down. The hearts of your viewers are doing this. I gotta see this movie, I gotta see this movie, you know. That's what you want to do too, is a lot of video effects in your trailer can be used to pump up the excitement of your viewers. And when it works, and you see the reactions of your viewers, they're like, damn, now I want to go see that movie, you know you've made it. I think I have yet to get that far, but just give you an idea. When I did the trailer for Paw 2, I tried to go on that very principle, where I would take some of the murder scenes and flash them one after another, hoping that it would get some people to say, I want to see this movie now. Not one person has actually said that. Well, actually, they have, but we've already screened the movie, so they've already seen it, and they want it. But not because they've seen the trailer, but because they saw when we aired the movie.
Well, there is actually one exception. Even before we even aired Pod 2 originally, Herbie, or AKA Mud from the Funny Pop Head Show, when we aired the trailer let's just say he wanted to see it badly.
Oh,
We
yeah.
actually, the night that we actually aired Pod 2 on our show, he was actually coming home from, we're just getting off work at Disney.
Yeah, and he was
And
racing like the devil to come
he
home.
basically texted me on my cell phone going, do not start yet until I get home.
And that was before we showed the trailer of what we can do. Now, there's also something that we've done before we did the trailer, and we did the trailer after the movie Part 2 was made. What we did was a teaser trailer. Now, teaser trailers only show a smidgen of what's going to be in the movie, probably because it's so early in production, you haven't filmed much, but you want to tell people this is what we're working on. Stay tuned for it because it's coming out. It's going to be exciting. Just show a few little, like scenes with text in it. Just put a bunch of text on the screen with some creepy music or music that's going to be in the motion picture, or maybe surprise them with one brief scene. A still photograph from your director or photographer might have taken something that you really thought was awesome. Flash that at the screen before the next bit of text comes up. That's a good way to do a teaser trailer. And teaser trailers usually about 30-35 seconds on average, maybe 45 if you have a lot to show, but try to keep it around 30 seconds. That's all you really need. A trailer, by average, minute to 2 minutes. Try to keep the trailers about minute to 2 minutes. 2 minutes might be a little overkill for some trailers, but if you go into the theaters and you're looking through all these trailers, some of them can take 2 minutes. Some of them can take 1 minute, minute and a half. It depends on how long it takes you to get to the point, get the people addicted, and get the people to say, I want to see this movie. Sometimes movies just have a longer way of doing it. Depends on the approach that you take too, because you are the director. So you know your film. And you also know when to duck your head from overhead wires. Any other questions about movie making that I have not touched on?
Just your cameras, what kind of...
Oh, cameras. Good question. For your movies, chances are you're not going to have big time... I'll try to stay in front of the camera because I love to pace when I talk. Camera like this over here, the Sony, could be an ideal camera. But chances are you're not going to have like one of those big time cameras that are used in Hollywood pictures, and it's not going to be like 100% high definition that you could stick right on Blu-ray and it'll look like it was just blown right up in your face. Sometimes even the smallest camera like what you find here, or like go to Best Buy. Excuse me. Where did that come from? Best Buy. That's when I think of you, Best Buy. You can go to Best Buy and see what they got over there on sale. Go to Amazon.com, eBay. Maybe a friend of yours has a camera. Hey, I can't do nothing with this camera. Oh, I can work with it. And let's say, oh, I like this camera. Can I buy it off you? Whatever camera you feel you can work with. This is the type of camera we used on the sets of Paw and Paw 2. I'm pretty sure Draconis has used cameras like this too, just to make just random videos and stuff.
I have other people with a camera. I let them buy the cameras.
But are they kind of like that? Are they kind of like with the digital camera over here?
One has the Canon TSI, and the other one has a Canon TSI.
So we're working with the Canon TSI family, but the basic principle is it's not a big time movie production when you put the tape in. It's got the big cover over it so that the tape doesn't escape out while you're filming. It's just like a digital camera like this with a little flip out, viewfinder. I mean, any camera will work as long as it looks nice. You can work with it. Tripods are definitely a must. I would highly invest in tripods. However many cameras you have, get that many in tripods, and have one more extra in case one breaks. It always helps to have that extra tripod, because believe me, we need one. We need that extra tripod. And we got 3 of them. We still need an extra tripod. Because the deal is, the old tripod we had, one of the hinges is broken on it. The other tripod is very flimsy when you raise it and extend it fully, so it's meant for smaller devices and cameras lower to the ground, or maybe even set on a table.
Basically, the one that I'm using right now that I brought with me is actually, it's kind of like the same model, but it doesn't.
Almost like that. I mean, if you've seen the camera back there, you've seen the tripod, but a tripod is a tripod. Try to get one that's like this quality, like this strength and durability is perfect.
This one's got a remote on it too, so I'm using the zoom on the handle.
Oh,
It's only $120.
So
I like.
For that?
Yeah, and
You know we make movies when we go, ooh, at a tripod.
Okay, now, Okay, the one I would like to get is the
But,
one that
cameras,
actually can move.
As long as they
You
do the
know,
work.
I've seen some that I can actually, you can actually
I got
do it
several
by
conversations going
remote,
at the same
and the
time.
tripod will move back and forth or up or down.
Now, this one I have to manually move, but the zoom, I got control over it here. I can control, and I have a switch I control to make it real slow on the zoom.
How do you plug it in? Where do you plug it in?
It's plugged in. I haven't been running
It's
any
SonicBlu
power.
How to make your
All that
production
stuff you've seen
chaotic.
me do, I basically.
Actually, we have had chaotic
I'm
moments in
seven
our
hour
production
battery.
work too, and it could get out of hand a bit.
7 hour
I have this one actor that helps us out. He's not a main actor for Opapa's Productions, but he does come over and help when we need the extra hands. And he will go just chaotic with comedy, fooling around. And it takes about 45 minutes just for him to get into the zone. But once he's in the zone, he won't get out of it. And that's what I like about him. It will take 45 minutes to get you guys in line. But once they're in line, hopefully they hold their own and they stay in the zone for a while. And if they do, you got a good actor, no matter how long it takes. But if time is of the essence, be the job of the director and say, hey, let's get to filming here. But we're losing daylight. How many times have I had to say that, Alan? Several? We're losing daylight. We got to film now. And so we go and get our
Yeah,
equipment
we
and
have
film
to like
now.
rush. Yeah, it's like we rush out the door to try to
Yeah.
get it done.
So, if you're a director, don't be afraid to give commands to your crew, because that's what they're there for. They're helping you.
I've gone through 8
And
32 gig
together,
cars.
you work together, and look what you can do together. You can make a full-blown motion picture like we have. You can actually work on somebody else's full-blown motion picture like I have. Or whatever you feel that you need to do. The sky's the limit. Even you can use this technique in making short videos like Draconis has done too. I mean, he's got camera people and pretty much like sound people as well, and people to help write the dialogues and monologues and scenes and chapters and all that stuff. Whatever you happen to need for your production, a short video works on the same principle. It doesn't really have to be a full-blown motion picture, but to show you how to make the professional stuff that we do, all of these tips can be helped in making small video productions as well. It doesn't really have to be all 100% Hollywood quality. The whole idea behind movie making, have fun with it, but don't make it seem too much of a burden, because it won't seem like fun. And the whole idea behind movie making, it's fun. And if it's fun for you, it's fun for your actors and crew. But if it's not, then it's more of a chore, and nobody will want to work for you because you'd be a bore. Hey, that rhymed! I should write poetry about that, but I won't, because I'm not a poet. I'm an actor. I'm a voice actor. I'm a movie maker, and I'm a director, and so can you. Any other questions?
Need to get ready for closing ceremonies.
We need to get ready for closing ceremonies, so I will pass the microphone over to our CEO himself, Draconis, or Con Chair, or whatever you'd like to be called.
Right back up on that stand over there.
What time
And
is
I will
that
put it
again?
right where?
On the stand.
On the stand.
Give Sonic a
Which
hand.
one? There's several stands back here.
What
Does it
time
mean
is
the one over
the
here without a
ceremony?
microphone on it?
That would work.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
So without further ado, I thank everybody for coming to see Movie Making with SonicBlu, and good luck on your movies.
So you didn't see my,
You
you
just
didn't,
turn the thing off, right? You don't know how to turn it off, do you?
I do know how to turn it
I
off.
was kidding.
just putting it on the microphone stand in case it is
Well,
needed
we
for-
know on how you and technology sometimes don't mix very
7
well.
o'clock. Very, very